I hope you brought your intelligently designed brain along, as well as a whole bunch of coffee, because you're going to need it.
Yep, got it right here.
We got a worldwide flood of questions about thermodynamics and information. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It merely changes form.
No. The first law of thermodynamics says that the change of the total energy of a system equals heat, energy transferred to or from the system through thermal interactions with other systems, plus work, energy transferred to or from the system through mechanical interaction. This means that in an isolated system, a system that doesn't interact with any other system, the total energy is conserved. What you presented was a consequence of the first law, not the first law itself.
The second law is the one that has the most significance to the origins debate and states that energy in the universe that is available to do work is continually decreasing.
No. The second law of thermodynamics says that the entropy of an isolated system never decreases.
So everything in our universe is continually running downhill toward...
No! Damn it, Ian! How many times do we have to explain this to you idiots? Just because the entropy of an isolated system as a whole can't decrease, that doesn't mean that entropy can't decrease in one part of a larger system.
Now, this is another scientific and natural law that evolution must violate, and it must violate it in two ways. The first and most obvious being the production of the first life from non-life. Now, we just saw what happens even if we have complex cells which are dead. They don't come back to life, they decay.
Yes, but life didn't start with dead complex cells. It started with simple chemicals interacting in an open system. Through chemical reactions, more complex chemicals and structures, such as the first cells, were formed gradually.
Anti-creationists simply recite Mark Isaac's page on the Talk Origins website. He tries to explain away the problems of evolution and thermodynamics by saying, the Earth is not a closed system. Now, this is first of all false, just by definition of a closed system.
I think he actually just goofed on the terminology, because if you change closed to isolated, he's absolutely right. I also think I should point out that this isn't his claim. Isaac is just pointing out what physicists have accepted for more than 150 years now.
Secondly, Isaac is insinuating that the laws of thermodynamics do not apply to open systems. The laws of thermodynamics most certainly do apply to open systems.
Sure, they apply to open systems, but you need to introduce terms that represent the energy or entropy of the matter that enters or leaves the system. These terms are not actually addressed by the first or second law. The laws apply, they just don't say anything about them.
As professor of thermodynamics, Dr. Andrew McIntosh points out in detail in his paper here.
Well, let's see. What's this? Editor's note. This paper presents a different paradigm than the traditional view. It is, in the view of the journal, an exploratory paper that does not give a complete justification for the alternative view. The reader should not assume that the journal or the reviewers agree with the conclusions of the paper. This is what you're going with. Okay.
It requires energy to assemble them and keep them that way. You need directed energy to assemble them. And in particular, you need a machine.
Define machine.
Watch how this works. Let's take a look again at your fridge to understand what's going on here. Notice a few things here. The entropy was reversed only in a local area, but the entropy in the entire universe actually increased.
Didn't you just say before that?
So everything in our universe is continually running downhill. Secondly, to accomplish this feat, a machine was required.
Define machine.
What is a machine? Dr. McIntosh provided an excellent definition. A machine is a device for capturing energy from its surroundings such that it will be able to constrain such energy to do work. The building of molecular machinery only takes place when
Here we go. What's information? Can you define it?
Now, there are countless numbers of machines in your body called ATP synthase. The ATP has a lowered entropy, but the entropy in the universe has increased exactly in accord with the second law. So everything in our universe is continually running downhill. Notice that a machine was required to do this.
Okay, so let me make the argument for you then. Definition: anything that reduces entropy is a machine. Accepted for the sake of argument. Premise 1. All machines are intelligently designed. Premise 2. ATP synthase reduces entropy. Conclusion 1. ATP synthase is a machine. Conclusion 2. ATP synthase is intelligently designed. I reject premise 1, Ian. Why? Because in order to accept that all machines are intelligently designed, I would have to first assume that ATP synthase, one of those machines, is also intelligently designed. But that's the conclusion of the argument. I'd have to accept the conclusion in order to accept the first premise. Ian, that's called begging the question.
Now, we represent the chemicals in DNA as letters, but having letters does not mean you have information.
Actually, yes. If you have letters, you have information. Proof? See? Read it. Tell me, what's the first letter? What's the second? What's the third? How are you able to answer these questions if there's no information here? You're confusing information with meaning.
Just as the arrangement of letters in a book is not caused by the chemistry of ink and paper, there is no chemical reason that the letters in the DNA arranged themselves in the sequence they did. In fact, left to natural laws, the letters in DNA would not arrange themselves at all.
That was so stupid, it was physically painful to hear it. Actually, yes, Ian, they would arrange themselves under the right circumstances, just like the letters HCl and NaOH rearrange themselves to H2O and NaCl because of... Oh, right, natural laws! This is elementary school science, Ian. At least here in Sweden.
The information in a book is not the result of the book. Rather, the book is the result of the information.
Correct, but it's a false analogy because we know that books have authors.
Evolution is supposed to operate by making changes to the DNA to produce new molecular machines. But this cannot work because new machines require a thermodynamic step uphill. You need information to direct the energy in a specific way to make the new machine. But new information requires intelligent design.
You can say it as many times as you like. A configuration of matter does not require intelligence.
Now, at this point, some people start jumping up and down and getting really excited, saying that I'm arguing from incredulity.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't actually going to go there. The problem here is that you're equivocating, making false analogies, attacking strawmen, begging the question, referencing sources that have absolutely no credibility, and demonstrating that you have no understanding of the subjects you're talking about, while giving the intended target audience, scientifically illiterate fundies, the impression that you're a nice, charming person with a lot of information that seems to make a lot of sense to them. Hey, credit where credit is due, Ian. You're a better speaker than I am. But that doesn't mean you're right. And you're not.
To control thermodynamics, producing and maintaining life and diversity, you need intelligence. Intelligence that is outside of matter and energy. Intelligence that designed life and controlled matter and energy in order to produce life and all of its diversity.
Somebody make the stupid go away!